Old Mutual intends to oppose former CEO Peter Moyo's court bid to be reinstated. The insurer suspended Moyo in May, citing a breakdown of their relationship of trust and confidence. The group then fired him last month over alleged payments made to a private company Moyo co-founded. Old Mutual is an investor in that company. Moyo approached the courts seeking reinstatement and to stop the group from feeling the position, among other things. Well, Tabby Tsengiwe from Old Mutual joins me now. Good evening. Thanks very much for coming through. You know, many people who have been following this saga, it would seem that even though a little later on there came this issue of, the company that he co-owns, the knives were out for him anyway.
Vuyo, it is a pity that that is how it is being perceived. As Old Mutual, we never intended for this to play out in the media in the way in which it has played out. Unfortunately, it is the tactic that has been employed by Mr. Moyo, as well as his lawyers, to divert attention to the issue at hand.
What is the issue?
The issue at hand was around how he, as the CEO of Old Mutual, managed the conflict that arose out of the relationship between NMT and Old Mutual as a preference shareholder in NMT. That is highlighted in the statement that we actually issued on the 18th of June, which details the exact nature of the conflict, which led to a breakdown in trust.
Which he obviously disputes.
That is what he is alleging to be disputing, yes.
Now, you are going to file papers, this week. Will it just be a response to what Peter Moyo has put on the table, or are you raising your own issues?
Vuyo, this is a very serious matter for Old Mutual. This decision was not taken lightly by the board. So what we will be putting through as our opposing papers and our response to the court is facts around this case and how it is that the board arrived at the decision to finally terminate Mr. Moyo's employment.
Is Mr. Manuel conflicted, as Mr. Moyo claims?
That is not the issue at hand. The issue at hand is around the management of Mr. Moyo's own conflict around the NMT and Old Mutual relationship.
Well, he charges
However,
that Mr. Manuel is is conflicted as well.
So those are the charges, and we will, on the 16th of July, put the facts in front of the court, and we will prove to the court how unfounded the allegations are.
Mm-hmm. And from on your version, what is the truth?
The truth is, we are here today because there was a breakdown in trust and in confidence in Mr. Moyo as the CEO of Old Mutual in how he managed the conflict around NMT. Interestingly enough, as I sit here today, the board still does not have a satisfactory response from Mr. Moyo on that matter. And that is what we want to put to the courts. Courts are known for dealing with facts and not allegations and innuendos, and we will be responding to the courts in a factual manner.
Unpack breakdown and trust, because this is what has been said from, I think, day one. Right? And out there, in the public, there's been very, very little understanding of what that actually means or what that actually entails.
So it entails how Mr. Moyo chose to conduct himself in relation to the conflict that arose, the specific conflict that arose around the treatment of Old Mutual as a preference shareholder in NMT and how dividends were paid out in relation to that.
What did he do that which he wasn't supposed to do?
So as you know, what we did state in our SENS announcement was that one of the concerns raised involved two declarations of ordinary dividends by NMT. And it was during 2018, and those dividend declarations totaled 115 million rand. And the resultant benefit of that was that Mr. Moyo himself had an investment of 30.6 million that was paid out to him. So it was around that specific conduct. It was then a discussion that happened, which obviously I was not privy to, but a discussion that took place between Mr. Moyo and the board in its entirety, because again, we are having aspersions that are being cast on the chairman in his individual capacity.
Which was going to be my next question, because he alleges that it all started because he dared to question the benefits that were to accrue to the chairperson.
That is not the point at all, Vuyo. And I think we all know that Old Mutual is a company that is 173 years old. It is a serious corporate that actually deals with investments and savings of a lot of South Africans. It is a company that has governance and processes in place. In the event that any fees were paid, it would have been fees that are due, that have gone through the necessary governance process and have been checked by various committees of the organization. The point that we are discussing here and at issue is Mr. Moyo's own conduct around the conflict that arose between Old Mutual and NMT.
Okay. That's how we're going to leave it for this evening. Thanks very much
for
coming through.